So Callum, welcome to Mind Over Everything.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving me your time, mate. I know you don't
pleasure.
give it up freely. We start every podcast with the same question.
Yeah.
Mind over everything. What does that mean to you?
I don't know. I think as a fighter and as I say, when I was a kid, I was a young, quiet, shy kid. The youngest of 4 brothers, but 2 younger sisters. And I think when you enter the sport of boxing and you want to, I used to read boxing news magazines and see all my favourite fighters with all the belts and stuff. And I just think, say, when you're a young kid from Liverpool, you shouldn't really reach those levels. So I think you've got to be mentally strong to think, you know what, I can reach the top, I get some of them belts, and people from where I'm from don't normally do that. So I think you've got to be mentally strong and always believe in yourself no matter what. And there'll be times along the way where it doesn't always go to plan, but as long as you've got that belief in your own ability and always back yourself, and if you're going to bet on yourself, and always, like I say, yeah, just back yourself in any situation and believe that one day you will get there, and that mind over matter for me. So it doesn't always go to plan, but deep down I always believed I'd reach the levels that I've reached.
We were saying when we were in the ring, the mind is such an important skill. Yeah. Have you always been razor sharp, focused, or is it something that you've just built?
No, a bit of both. I think something you've got to just build over the years, but I think it's probably something that's in you anyway. I think you always got to be mentally strong, especially in boxing. You've always got to. There's a man at the other side of the ring who's trained for weeks, and his only goal is to beat you up, and you've got to stop him doing it. And I think as men, and everyone can fight a little bit, but the bit about boxing that's always fascinated me is the mental side of it, the outsmarting your opponent. And it's not cheesy, but people say it's like chess. You've got to make your move, counteract what he does, and that's the side of it I've always enjoyed. But yeah, I think in terms of mental sides of it, you've always just got to believe in yourself, regardless of who's stepping through the ropes, through the side of the ring. Believe you're better, and they might have better attributes than you, better, faster, stronger, but if you get it right on that day, you'll beat them, and that's what I've always felt I've been good at.
So you know how important it is. Have you worked on it? Has there been any specific work, or is it just something that's ingrained in you and grown with you?
When I was at amateur, I was on the GB team, and they have sports psychologists and stuff, so you do get little bits of help. But I remember speaking to someone who was saying about like visualization, and they try and teach people how to do that. And I've done that since I was a kid. I always visualize potential fights, what it'd be like.
Without it being put in front of you?
Yeah, without, I was just always really good at that, and I didn't know that weren't a normal thing. Ever since I was a kid, I've always visualised what I'd do when I was world champion, how good I'd imagine a fighting him. And even now when I'm driving or I'm out doing my runs, I visualise whether it's my fight coming up or a potential fight that could happen in the future. I've always been quite good at visualisation, and again, I didn't realise at the time, but that's massive in terms of when you do get in those situations, you feel like you've already been there before because you went through it in your own head and many times.
Do you know what I laughed at when I walked in this gym? It's obviously quite an intimidating place to come, but like I like that feeling.
Yeah.
I'm a big lad, and people knew who I was in terms of they knew I was a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
It was so funny watching everyone size me up.
Yeah.
Is that just what happens when you walk into a gym?
Yeah, I think so. But
I could just see them working out. Right. Okay. So he's big. How does he move? How would I hurt him? That I could hear it in their heads as they were saying hello.
Yeah, I think that's just the sport thing. I think everything. Well, I wonder what weight he is, or can he fight and stuff. But in terms of me, I just always, if let's say I'm 6'3", so I'm a decent size. So if anyone's bigger than me, I think he's big. Do you know what I mean? Someone like Andy Joshua and stuff. If anyone's bigger than me, I think, oh, fuck me, he's big. And but yeah, sometimes he says 6'4", I was thinking, you're bigger than 6'4".
But then you were working out how to batter me. I could feel it.
I think as a fight thing, you always just size people up, and when you watch anything, you think, what would I do? And it's the same even like now, like if I watch a fight, I always put me in that position. How would I beat him, so to speak? So you're always constantly working your own brain as you're watching fights and stuff.
I always thought that. I always thought going into a room and knowing that you could take the risk. Maybe it's tribal, I don't know if it's an old school feeling, but I just thought it'd be a mega feeling to walk into a room. Like, you're a super relaxed guy, right?
Yeah. You're
not giving off the impression that you want to do anything.
No.
But what's it like being in a room knowing that if needs be? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a good thing, like it's a good safety thing to have in it.
Yeah.
Like, if it did, then you know you can handle yourself. I think that's good with a lot of, I say, if you're on nights out and stuff, it's never really boxers who'll start the fighting and stuff, and I think because they know they can't enemy, they haven't really got a point to prove it. I think the ones who are always trying to start fights and stuff are the ones with the point to prove, and boxers haven't really got that. So you know, a lot of, again, when you start from a kid, a lot of boxing does teach you a lot of respect, manners, and if you are that type of kid, it gets took out of you, and if you're a shy, quiet kid, it brings you out your shell a little bit. So no, amateur boxing is amazing for the upbringing of young kids and keeping them on the right path.
Tell me when, mate.
Yeah, when you're ready, mate.
This episode of Mind Over Everything is sponsored by Super Nutria. Even off the pitch, recovery is everything. After every workout, I like to nail the protein. With Super Nutria, I'm getting 17.5 grams from a 250 ml, which is obviously great for muscle repair. On top of that, there's 80% more calcium than regular milk, which is great for my bones. The milk tastes good, it's really easy. Family are all over it. Growing kids, whoever can help them. Taking a lot of hits and lots of falls, so stronger than bones, the better. So all those benefits, without adding anything into it, I just feel like I'm winning.
So I was part of this ridiculous Smith dynamic for half an hour, and my head was frazzled, but the energy was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Very, very clear what everyone's role is in the gang, but you're a team, right?
Yeah.
And obviously you, even when we were chatting, immediately you just gave yourself distance and let the boys do what they needed to do.
Yeah.
How on earth does that dynamic work?
I don't know, I've always been the quiet one out the four of us, but we've always had a busy house, busy upbringing, and I think the fact that we all have the same profession growing up, it's like we kind of understand what the other's going through more than anyone else out there, and boxing's an individual sport, so to speak, but obviously you've got your coaching team and stuff like that, but I've always felt I've had 3 extra coaches in my brothers, and I value their opinion probably more than anyone, and they've been there and done it before me, so whenever I fight, I'll sit in the corner, listen to my coach, and then I stand up, and then in those 3-4 seconds before the bell rings, I'd always look down to them and get their advice as well. So it's like a cheat code really, and I've got 3 extra coaches in my corner, so to speak. But yeah, I value their opinion more than anything, and we're very close and they're in the gym with me, so they probably know me better than anyone as well. So it works both ways. They're there for advice and stuff, but they're also there to relax me and making me feel like I could be anywhere in the world. If I'm with them 3, it's like I'm at home in my mum's front room.
But it doesn't have to work. You're saying it like it's like, we all know that in family there's jealousy, there's egos, and like all your boys, every single one of them's got their own story and their own pedestal that they could be put on.
Yeah.
Who's in charge in navigating and keeping you all on the same team?
My mum, probably.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's my mum. Yeah, as kids, I think it was always just my mum used to say there's enough enemies outside. Don't fight between yourselves, so to speak. And I think we're very, very competitive in anything. If it's a game of snooker, tennis, any form of sport, we're the most competitive people you'll ever meet. But when it comes to boxing, we're never competitive against each other. Like, I'd gladly let them 3 be more successful than me. Just as a younger brother, I'd always love to watch them win. Anything else, I'd beat 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll argue that I'll beat the 3 of them, and who says the best at whatever, we'll all argue. Whereas when it comes to boxing, we've always kind of supported each other rather than be competitive against each other.
What do you take from her?
My mum.
Yeah, because I know you can take your bits from.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're telling me she's
strong,
the boss.
Yeah, she's just a strong. For me, she's the best woman on the earth. Just very. I think I'm like in certain ways, as in. She's not quiet, but like she's very. I don't know how to describe her, but she's just a very strong woman.
She must be.
She's very 6 kids.
She must be.
She's just nothing really phases her. Any situation she'll come out of, and she's just. Even I always laugh now at, like, I've got little kids, and like if any one of the toys break, but like I say, I'll bring it to Nanny will fix it.
Yeah.
Like if there's something things like there's a stain on the top, I think I mean we'll be able to get that out. She just can. One of them people who I think can do anything, and if anything goes wrong, my mum will know how to fix it. And maybe everyone thinks that about their own mum, but she genuinely is that person in my life.
So if I were to ask her what it's like to have you 4, what would she say?
I don't know, I think, to be honest with you, I think she enjoyed it. I think she enjoyed it. Like she always says, I think she had Paul when she was 21, and she just said she just loved being a mum. Like she had 6 kids, so I think she had to, I think. But yeah, I think like even now, when we're all down there and the grandkids, it's like being in a nursery. There's kids everywhere and chaos going on, and she's just sitting, like doing her knitting. Like she's very calm in a hectic situation, and she just loves being around her kids and her grandkids and stuff. So yeah, I think she probably enjoyed every minute of it. Like I've got 3 now, and I think how did my mum have 6? But I say I think she took to it like a duck to water.
What's that like, having kids and being a professional boxer?
Yeah, it's good. It's I don't know, I think when people have kids, it kind of gives them more of a reason to achieve something and say money and provide for them, whereas with me, it made me want to finish earlier, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I had already, a few months before I had my little girl, I become world champion and like financially earned enough. So for me, it made me just want to finish sooner and be a dad, and
really?
I like doing the school run, I like doing, so I think if I was to say, oh yeah, like I'm sacrificing, missing out on stuff with them, and I'd be a liar if I said, but I'm doing it for you, because I'm not. I think I'm still doing it for 8-year-old me who wanted to win all the belts and stuff. But I think there'll be a point where you need to stop being a little bit selfish and chasing my own dream and go and help them chase theirs. But yeah, it kind of had the opposite effect for me. It made me want to achieve everything as quick as I can and finish so I can spend my time with them. I think with boxing, it's very, you've got to sacrifice a lot of time and stuff. And even, like my wife always says, even when I am at home and I'm in a fight camp, I'm there, but I'm not really there mentally. My brain's elsewhere, thinking about the fight and stuff. So yeah, I think a little bit more left. Hopefully I can be a 2-weight world champion, and then I'll gladly be present a little bit more.
I was going to say, you say that. You say you had and you wanted to come out. Well, you're not out.
Yeah,
You're
I know.
3 deep now.
Yeah,
You're 3 deep and you're still hunting it.
I'm so close to achieving what I want to achieve, but it's a battle both sides. So I've earned good money. I've been a world champion, so I probably should be able to walk away. But I'd hate to. You'd be surprised. I think I mentioned this to you off cameras, in the amount of athletes who finished the sport and they always wonder what if, and I probably could have done a little bit more. I could have done this. I could have done that. Whereas I want to be one of the few who are happy and content and say, you know what, I've done everything I could have in my sport. I'm happy with what I achieved, and I think if I be a 2-weight world champion, I will be that. If I don't, I'll probably always wonder, could I have been a 2-weight world champion? So I think that's the reason why I am still going and still chasing that goal to be happy and content that when I have got it, I'll retire and there'll be no issues, no itches to come back and chase something that's not there.
I could tell that was one thing you wanted to ask me. I could tell when we spoke. You wanted to find out, because I
think it'd be a surprise in sport, no matter how good a career, people have probably always believed they could have done more. I think you'd probably rate yourself a little bit higher than what.
You've got to though.
Yeah, I think that's part of being a good sports person, is in you've got to back yourself, as you said earlier. So I think they'll always wonder, and if I'd have retired 3 years ago, I'll probably be sitting there thinking, I could have been a 2-weight world champion. I'd probably niggle away at me thinking, well, could you have?
Yeah.
So the fact that I've committed to it now, and hopefully I'll finish it. And then when I am done, I can sit back and say, you know what, I've done what I set out to do.
So you're the youngest of the 4, of the Smith brothers,
Yeah.
and everyone's achieving in front of you. Did that just become normal? What I'm trying to say is, like Paul, for example, it wasn't normal for him what he chased.
Yeah.
But it sounds like from working with you today, you've been able to just cherry pick from each of them all these brilliant ways of doing things.
Yeah.
To put yourself in a position where you knew exactly what it took.
Yeah.
When you knew, did that put you on the back foot, or did that make you think, full systems?
No, if anything, like I always get asked, don't you feel pressure being the youngest of 4 brothers, and they were all successful before me, like they all represented the country as amateurs, and I had to then do it, otherwise I had to be in the odd one out, and then turn professional, they all won British titles. I had to feel like I had to win it, but I always felt it beneficial. I had 3 coaches, and I had 3 people who'd been there and done it before me, and even in terms of like when I finally fought for a world title, like I'd been there with all 3 of my brothers beforehand, walking the ring in the changing room, so I felt like I'd been involved in it.
Yeah.
So it probably made me experienced, even though I'd never been there before myself.
Yeah.
I felt like I had with them, and I think with brothers, you're mentally just as involved as they are fighting. Emotionally, I get more nervous watching them fight than I do myself, so to speak. So yeah, I think it benefited me massively, and seeing them do it, like I've seen Liam win a world title, he's had the same upbringing as me. He's if he can do it, then I can definitely do it, and not in a jealous wanting to outdo me brother way, just proving that I can do everything they do. So if he's done it, it just spurred me on even more to go on and achieve what I've done.
What would you encourage in a young boxer who hasn't got what you had in terms of that kind of dynamic around them?
Put yourself in a gym with good fighters. I think people I seen Paul say it the other day on I think it was on TalkSport. If you're the best fighter in the gym, you need to move gyms.
Yeah.
Like you've got to surround yourself with good fighters and
Yeah.
people who are a little bit ahead of you, people who are on the same journey but a little bit past you, and then work with them, see what they do, see how. Like when I turned professional, I got put in a gym again with a lot of good experienced fighters, and you just see not so much how people think, oh, you just learn off how they throw punches, but like how they carry themselves, how they live their life, what he does in between sessions, how he eats,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And it's just good habits that you can take from him, and then you can have the other people who don't live the life, and yet you'll see where their career ends up, and it won't be where it probably should have been. So you can learn off bad things as well. So yeah, just put yourself around people who are on the same journey as you, probably a little bit ahead of you, and take as much as you can and just listen to the good things, ignore the bad things, and just be a sponge.
Aside from your brothers, who's the best you've been around? I don't mean fought, I mean been around. You know, you said you've been around people constantly who are better than you, or further down the line.
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint any, but I remember like when I first turned professional, there was like lads like Andy Crawler, Scott Quigg, they were really good in terms of living the life. Like Andy Crawler wasn't the most like gifted in terms of talent wise, but was very disciplined, lived a good life, and when I become a world champion because of it. And you get other fighters who have got all the talent in the world but aren't disciplined, don't live the life, don't do things the way they're supposed to, and don't reach the heights that they probably should have. And just little things like that, and just how a lot of people carry themselves, what you should be doing. Stay in the gym in between fights, don't just win and then go on holiday and go on the booze and go missing for a few weeks and wait for the phone to ring to, oh, you've got a fight in 6 weeks, oh shit. So it's like, stay in, stay ready, so if you do get a phone call, yeah, I'm ready to go. Do you know what I mean? So little things like that, especially early on in your career, like you shouldn't be having training camps, you should just be in the gym, learning, fighting. When you're getting older and you're doing the big 12 rounds, yet you need a bit of time off after it, but early on when you're starting off, you should just be in the gym all year round. So just listen. It's the best thing, you can't have an ego in boxing. You've always got to know that there's stuff to learn. Even now, I think that's probably why I'm still fighting at the highest levels, because I've always had like an obsession with getting better, improving. I go to the gym to be better, not just to get fit. I think a lot of people use the gym, I go there and get fit and throw as many punches as I can, get my heart rate up, whereas I use it as very technical to turn. Why can't let's throw that shot better, let's keep perfecting it, getting it better and better, and I think that's why I'm still fighting at the level I am.
Are you still improving?
Yeah, I believe I am. If it wasn't, I wouldn't fight. I genuinely,
I know what you mean.
I've been world champion. I believe I'm good enough to get there again. If it wasn't as good as it was back then, I wouldn't do it. I believe I'm a better fighter now than when I was world champion last time. I think if I was this version who used to fight that version, I'd beat him. So yeah, I think I'm still getting better. And the minute that stops, I think it's time to hang them up.
So in your time frame of being a professional boxer to now, who's been the best boxer on the planet? Or most rounded? Who have you walked into or been in and around and fought? That is incredible.
Obviously the best from my generation, that was obviously Floyd Mayweather was a good fighter, but he's probably just as I was turning professional, he was coming to the end of it. But I actually probably boxed the best one of, let's say, the last 10 years, probably Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
I ended up boxing him.
Oh, yeah.
So like he was good in terms of technical, he was very clever, smart when he was in there, very hard to hit clean. From the outside looking in, you probably think, oh yeah, I'll catch him, and then when you're in with him, he was a lot harder to hit clean and stuff. So yeah, people like that, like, I'm a boxing fan, first and foremost, so I've always watched boxing. I probably watch less now than I did years ago, but I've always liked fighters, and I watch fighters and try and take things from each one as well. Do you know what I mean? Like I still believe I can learn, even now at the age I'm at now, so I've always studied boxers and watched them, and say I've always got my favourite fighters, and some fighters, my favourite fighters, I don't fight anything like them, but I still appreciate what they can do, do you know what I mean?
So early success, right? So you've got the Smith name, you walk in the gym, everyone knows who you are, they're testing you, they're watching you, you know, it's like watching, I think we were talking before about Paul's son, he's going to have the same thing, right? Your son potentially might have it, we never know. What was it like when you started to really feel comfortable in what you were doing and started to knock people over in front of you and making that progression?
It was good. I loved it. Like, people look and say I've had a good career now, and people probably look at like the back ends of it with the world title fight and stuff, whereas I enjoyed the start more. I was fighting once a month near enough, and I was just always in the gym, and I was winning, and I think I was I wasn't just winning, I was performing really well, and I was making people speak about me, and I was creating like a bit of buzz about me and stuff, and I loved that, and always felt like I was chasing something, like each fight was like a step up, so it brings you up the rankings, and obviously you've got your goal of being a world champion, so every fight puts you that little bit closer, so I loved the chase more than anything, and even it just mentally, like I turned professional and said I want to be a world champion. Did I believe I could do it? Yeah, I did, but realistically, like Liverpool hadn't had one for I think it was over 20 years when I first turned professional, so why was I different to anyone else in the past 20 years? So there's always a party who thinks, well, what we were saying earlier, why should you? That's not for you, that's for all the Americans. The Mexicans, you become world champion, but then on the other side is someone who believes now you can beat anyone. And as I was coming through and I was winning, and I was probably winning as easy as I was, the belief was just growing even more and more that I can become a world champion, and each fight was just getting a little bit more believable to the point where I was adamant I'd become a world champion.
And who was plotting those moves?
Just my team, Matchroom, they can't, actually me training and stuff, I've never really had a say in who I fight. I've never been one to call out people. You just say, you're fighting him this date.
Yeah.
Go and get him, go and train and come up with the right tactics to beat him. And I've always enjoyed that. I'm not the best at decision making. There's been one fight that I've ever picked to fight, and it was when I went in the tournament and I had a choice of 3 fighters, and I probably ended up picking the toughest one in hindsight, but the actual choice done me head in, to be honest with you, because I was asking my 3 brothers, and they put me on like the biggest pedestal, and they were like, you'll beat all 3 of them, pick whoever you want. And I was like, that's not really what I asked. I asked me which one should I pick. So I ended up picking myself and probably picked the toughest one out of 3 of them. But yeah, that was just, you tell me I'm fighting and I'll beat them. I'll do my job in the gym.
Yeah, I'm a soldier. I like being told, this is what you need to do and this is when you need to deliver it. How hard is that? Because I'm not a boxer. I know my world. I know that you have to win your games and then you get your moves. Putting the trust in the hands of Matchroom, for example. Yeah. And understanding that you probably felt more ready to fight, and then I think you hear people talk about tune-up fights. And how is it hard to get your head around stuff like that? Or if you trust is obviously huge.
Yeah, I think you just got to trust that the people around you want what's best for you. And I think as a fighter, if you just said I can fight for the world title on my second fight, I probably would have. And I probably believed I'd won it. Yeah, but I think you've got to. That's what your team's for. They've got to know. They know you better than most, and they see you day in and day out. Your coach sees you in the gym all the time, and then your promoter obviously works alongside them, and it's their job to guide you the right way, give you the right fight at the right time. One step too far, too soon can derail it all. So that's where they earn their money. Your promoter, manager, as good as you are, you can take that one step too far, too soon. Someone you probably would beat in 6 months if you're fighting that a little bit too early. Yeah, it can backfire, and then you're back to the start, so to speak. So yeah, you've got to. I'm not a promoter. I was a fighter. I fought whoever I've been told to fight. It's their job to do that side of it, and that's why they say a good amateur doesn't make a good professional, but it gets you a good contract to start off, and if you get a good contract, you get a good promoter who'll guide you the right way, so you won't be throwing that little bit too early. Yeah, I think that's such an important message, and I tried to help that in football with young lads who have loads of ability, and you could literally just grab them by the head and just say, it'll come. Yeah, you've got to be patient as well. Don't get wrapped up in anything. Like I'm telling you, and imagine people have told you, you're good enough to be world champion. So don't worry about anything else. Yeah. Just keep whacking people and not getting hit. Yeah. And it'll come. That's what we touched on before, is in terms of being around people a bit more experienced than you, who've been there and done it. That it goes a long way and helps massively in boxing. Whereas I say, but you've got to be able to hear it. Yeah, you've got to listen as well. Because I can tell people, and especially as a senior man in the dressing room, they loved and respected me. They did. Yeah. And some people immediately, you could just see their eyes just sink and go, right, that's someone who I really rate is telling me it just, and then some people going, but realistically, straight on the phone, I want another, get another £5 a week, get another £5 a week. Yeah, at boxing, the exact same, I think ego takes over, and you think when you're saying, don't have that fight next, we'll have this further down the line, they take it as, why do you think he'll beat me? It's an ego thing, and they'll take it regardless. So, I think you just got to respect people who've been there and done it before you, to know that they want what's best for you, and the right moves at the right time will get you to where you want to be. That is a great question. Right. Go on. And I asked this to Luke Stoltman, who competes in the world's strongest man in 165 kilos. He's your height. Yeah, you're long. And he lifted me above his head with one arm, right?
But
It's asked me to, are you?
No, he's 40 and he's got a young son. And I said to him, what does the word alpha mean to you in this environment? But now, what does the word alpha mean to you? Because it's amazing how much it's changed in my head.
I don't know, I think it just means being, not sure of yourself, but just confident that, what we touched on earlier about mindset, as in, I can fight anyone in the world and I back myself, regardless of whether I'm favourite or whether I'm underdog. Just always back yourself, as long as you prepare right, bet on yourself against anyone. And I think that's just, even say my little boy now, I wouldn't like them to fight, but I hope me fighting shows them that you can achieve whatever you want if you put your mind to something, regardless of what your goal, what your dream may be. Regardless of what anyone tells you, you can reach whatever level you want if you just apply yourself right, do things correct, and most importantly, just believe in yourself.
See, I love that, because I think growing up, I just presumed that meant you were the biggest and hardest in the room. And you could dominate and you could bully and you could do what you wanted. But I can see that in you, like, you've obviously seen it, you've been around it, and you understood what it was from a lot earlier than maybe than the young sportsman would understand. Because to have that measured answer, I can tell you've not wavered with the mind changed. And it was only the more I got around world-class athletes and I realised that, okay, alpha doesn't mean
the biggest and strongest,
Alpha means you're in super control of what you're doing and people trust you. People trust you, they can rely on you. And that, I think you'd have definitely picked that up from being around your three brothers and world elite level people from early on. You're the quiet one of the four, calm, measured. Even that answer you've just given me there is, but you're trying not fuck out of people when they get in the ring. Well, when does that go? And how does it go?
I think it's when I step in the ring. I don't know, I think I'm very laid back, quiet outside the ring, but quite spiteful when I get in there, in terms of, like, if I'm quite heavy handed, and if I land and I think you felt it, I can kind of put my foot to the floor and get rid of it. I've got like a good killer instinct, which is a good thing to have in fighting. But I think it's just the minute I step in the ring, I think it's more just the adrenaline kicks in, the crowd blanks out, and it's just me and you, and I just win by any means possible. And I think that's where the spiteful side comes out of it, in terms of outside the ring, I'm not a violent person, so I'm quite quiet, laid back. But I've been quite good at switching on the minute I step in those ropes, and it's done me well so far, and it's probably one of me good traits in terms of me fighting. I've got a good killer instinct when I do smell blood, but I don't know where it comes from, but it's a good thing to have, and I don't even know when it happens. It's just the minute I step in, like, in the ring, it just feels different, and it's just win by any means possible.
It's a fight day. How do your emotions build? What would you say is your biggest experience?
My biggest fight,
from feeling, not from on
world
paper.
Champion, probably world champion, because I think everything in my career built up to that. Like, even when I won a British title, I wasn't satisfied. It was just okay. And like, if they're speaking to me now, in the past, I'd probably say enjoy the milestones on the way a bit more, because I didn't. I was just, okay, what's next?
You can't do that if you're going to.
And I was always, the goal was to be a world champion. So the day I was fighting for the world title, it was kind of, even though I may have got other shots in the future, it was more, it took me this long to get one shot. There's no guarantees I'll get another one. So it was kind of an all or nothing moment for me.
So give me that day. You remember it, or is it?
Yeah, I remember it well. I was over in Saudi. I got up, and every fight day, most fight weeks, especially when you go abroad, I like to have my team around me, my brothers, and we like, the S&C coach brings a Switch, so we play Mario Kart and stuff, and it's just competitive, and I kind of just like to keep everything as if I'm in here, normal, laughing and joking, and nothing's ever too serious, and ever give you time to sit and think, and be inside your own head, always trying to stay around people. Then fight day, I go have a lie down in the afternoon, and then I set my alarm, say we're getting picked up at 7:30, I set my alarm for like 10 to 7, get up, get a shower, and then it's fight mode. Then I put my headphones in, get on the bus, go to the venue, and then that's when I kind of switch on. When I get the venue, you get little butterflies when you pull up outside the venue, and you slowly get your hands wrapped, and when you get your hands wrapped, you kind of thinking over the fight then, and just slowly get a bit more switched on, and then your warm-up starts and it's fight mode then. But up until probably leaving to go to the venue, I try and switch off as much as I can and just be normal, Callum as if I'm back at home.
And did you feel like you were peaking that day? Did you feel right? Because I hear a lot about boxers and you'll see it as an untrained eye. You can see when the fight will start and you can tell they're just not themselves. There's something not quite right.
Yeah, it can. A lot of the time you don't know until you get in there, but I think with the world title fight, I had a really good camp. I was in good shape and I think I was just mentally prepared. I was confident I'd win. I was the underdog in the fight as well, but in my eyes I weren't. I knew I had the beating of him. I knew I just needed to perform, and I think that's when you talk about like mindset and stuff. I've never been a big studier in my opponents. I've always just kind of been, as long as I know what they fight a bit like, I've always been big on the best version of me turns up, I'll beat anyone in the world, regardless of who it is, and let them deal with beating me. And that was the same. I thought the best version of me steps in the ring, I'm good enough to win and I'm good enough to be a world champion, and that did happen. It played out that way. But yeah, you do feel the pressure in the build-up. Like I say, I remember saying to myself, if you don't take this opportunity, you might never get another chance to fight for the world title. But once you get in the ring, all that goes out the window and it's just win, regardless, whether it's a world title fight or whether there's nothing on the line. You just have to win that fight, and then the win that you win, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot that was for the world title. You're not really thinking about what's at stake when you're in the ring. It's just win at any level.
And is it everything that you ever wanted? Was it?
Yeah, it was. Of course, it was, and it was only since losing it I realised how much I want it back, so to speak. I want to be at 2-8, but I did think it was the top of the mountain, and it weren't. When I won it, it was great, and then it was okay. What more? And I think that's just as an athlete, you're never satisfied. I think I always want more, and even now I'm saying I want to be a 2-8 world champion, and then I'm done. I'll probably do it and think,
way. There's no way.
I can go and unify. Do you know what I mean? I can do. Like, I think you'll always set the bar, and then when you do it, you always knock it up a bit more. And that's the one thing I realised. I thought, the minute I'm world champion, I could retire the next day and happy. And then the next day I got up and was like, I want to unify. I want to fight. I want to be a 2-8 world champion. And I think you always just set more goals for yourself, and I'll probably do that again. But I do think I'll be satisfied when I'm 2-8 world champion. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'll chase 3 or not, and I think 2 is good though.
What about when you're fighting the likes of Canelo and Beterbiev? Like, does it change, or was it when you fought the likes of Groves? Like, nationally, it's huge, right?
Yeah, it's big. It's just a lot at stake. I think, again, with like the Canelo and Beterbiev one, it wasn't much different in terms of, I believe I belonged in that fight, if that makes sense. I wasn't given an opportunity to fight them. I believe I'd beat the 2 of them. But you do notice the difference in levels when you fight the likes of those than on the way up. Like we were talking on earlier, like one mistake and it's capitalised on, whereas when you're on the way up, you can make a mistake and it probably goes unnoticed because you don't pay for it. Is at the highest level, the margin for error is a lot smaller. You one mistake and you say you decapitalise on it, and you can I always felt with Canelo, I could see his brain ticking as I was standing. I was thinking one wrong move here, he's waiting to pounce, so to speak. So that kind of, your brain's working, it looks like he's might throw a shot for 30 seconds, but your brain's constantly thinking. If I do this, he'll do that, or when he does this, I'm going to do this. And I said, that's the part of sport I enjoy, outsmarting your opponents and stuff, but that's what I felt. Like every time I speak to someone with Canelo, they say, oh, how was he punching all that? And like, that wasn't what, it was his brain, his boxing brain. He was very clever, and even though he was only short, he'd like distract me like as if he was going to do something. Whereas in the meantime, he used to shuffle on his feet into range, and then he'd throw a jab and hit me, and I'd be like, how did you get that close to me? So little stuff like that, I thought he was clever with. And again, being in with someone like that, I believe made me a better fighter moving forward, and all the things that he was doing to me, then I can try and work on and make me a better fighter because of it. And like, I hated losing. 2 of the losses absolutely broke my heart, but I accepted them. I took full accountability for them, and if anything, highlighted areas what I needed to improve. So I believe I've become a better fighter because of the 2 of them for that reason. Like, I think when you're winning, even if you're underperforming, you're winning. So it's not really. Whereas I think when you lose, you think, wow, how did that happen? Why did it happen? What did it do? So I took more from those 2 fights than any others.
It's a really hard conversation to have because you actually in life, and to be at world level and to dance at the top, you've got to be a good loser.
Yeah.
You've got to be, and that sounds, because I'll talk about goalkeeping, and this will sound ridiculous, but like I got comfortable with letting goals in really quickly.
Yeah.
Really quickly. I got comfortable with making mistakes really quickly, because that is a massive part of my life, and I can't let the bogeyman, the goal, the mistake, stop me.
Yeah.
How did you, having so much success, how did you manage to pragmatically work through what you could have done better and not see it as the end of the world?
It's hard. I think time. I think when it obviously turned professional and I went on I think it was a 27 fight unbeaten run. So as much as you know you're not invincible, you do build this invincibility bubble around yourself. Where you think,
and you've got to believe you're invincible.
I beat anyone, and even if like there's been fights where I've had a terrible training camp, and I think, but I get it right on the night, and I've always performed when it matters, and so you can have a good training camp and then underperform. So it doesn't always matter, but I always believed I get it right on the night, regardless of who it is. And then when I lost, like I say, it broke my heart, to be honest with you, and it did feel like the end of the world. And then as time goes on, you think, well, if I'm going to carry on fighting, which I was, why did I lose? Why was he better than me on the day? What did he do? And then I say it just highlights everywhere. But it's not a nice thing to do, but it does. It highlights all the areas what you're not as good at as what you should have been. And
what did he do better?
He was just, again, I think on the day, it's hard to sit and make it, but my performance wasn't the best. He performed really well, to be fair, but I underperformed, so I had to more look at me, why I underperformed, what was wrong with me, what did I do wrong. He was good. He just, again, when I underperformed, he just highlighted it and capitalised on my mistakes and stuff. But I made a few changes to my team after it. I went to America to take myself out of my comfort zone. I went to LA, spent 6 weeks over there, and you're walking in the gym when, Callum Smith, world champion, always won the year before I lost, I got British Boxer of the Year. So probably that year I was the best fighter we had in this country. And then all of a sudden you go to America and you're not that person, you're just another person in the gym. So I felt like that helped massively, kind of took me away from it. And then, as I say, I do believe I come back a better fighter, and then losing to Beterbiev, I think I've become a better fighter again because of it. And I think if you don't, then you don't really take anything from the loss besides just probably then your confidence.
It must be mad, right, to have the career that you have and are having. But the fascinating side of it is losing, and that's not because you're lost, it's because the learnings from it and the recovery, and to be able to come back and be in the position that you're in and go through what you went through at Boatsi. Yeah. But what's the difference between losing points and what's the difference between losing by a stoppage?
Neither, to be honest with you. Yeah, they both hurt, to be honest with you. Like not physically, they both hurt mentally. Like it's more a pride thing. Like I'm doing an interview after the Beterbiev fight, and I always believed I was the best in the world. And even when I lost to Canelo, it was easy to say, okay, I'm moving up. I'd outgrown the weight. I couldn't perform at that weight anymore, so I moved up a weight division. So I had that excuse, but it was like, I'm not his weight anymore, so I still believe I'm the best in the world at this new weight. And then losing to Beterbiev, and it kind of just hit home that you're not the best in the world anymore. And that was hard to take, but...
Best in the world.
Yeah.
The world, the whole wide world, wherever you go.
Yeah, it's good when you say that. I'm not back there again. But yeah, I don't know, like people think, losing by knockout probably worse, but if anything, you can be winning a fight and lose by knockout and it's just a good shot, whereas losing on points, they're better than you, if that makes sense. So losing on points probably worse because he was better than me over 12 rounds, with the better one, like he caught me and the fight was still going on. So yeah, I don't know, they're both, if you ask me now if I was to lose again, I'd rather lose on points, for obvious reasons, but I don't know, I think just losing, regardless of whether you lose a razor close points decision or you get knocked out, it's still a loss on your record. You've lost whatever belt you've had or anything like that, and it's reality kicks in that you're not invincible anymore, you're not as good as you once thought you was, and that's just the hard thing where, inside your own head's a lonely place, and when you're on your own and you're having everyone around saying, don't worry, like after my first loss everyone was, yeah, but it was Canelo, and I think, well, I don't care, that doesn't help, like it didn't help, I believed I was the best and I lost regardless of who it was to. So yeah, I think you just got a few conversations with yourself which aren't nice, but I think if you use it properly then you can improve from a loss. What's
the world level aftermath like? Because you're not a trash talker, right? So anyone that you've got in with, it's not actually ever really got too personal or anything like that. But what fascinates me is I'd love nothing better than having a brilliant game at the highest level and winning or losing. I love shaking hands with someone after and looking at them and saying like, or them looking at me or me looking at them and saying, especially goalkeepers, I was able to do it.
Yeah.
What's it like as a boxer?
I think it's massive. I think that's the one of the best things about the sport in terms of you can absolutely knock lumps out of each other for 12 rounds. Every shot you try and knock someone out, that bell goes and you touch gloves with each other and there's just mutual respect and you probably despised each other beforehand. But even if you like the Ben Eubank one, they ate each other, they had a rematch and ate each other again, but second time round they still didn't like each other, but the respect was there. So I don't like him, but I respect him. I think when you do your fight with someone and you give as good as you get, you, whether you like them or not, you do find that respect because it's a tough sport, it's a tough way to make a living. So I've always said that anyone, when saying about all the misfit stuff and that, if anyone steps through them ropes and puts themselves in the limelight,
I agree.
Fair play. I'll shake your hand. It's a lonely place to get in. So if you're willing to do that, and especially people who've got like yourself, you've got a profile, you've got
you're
a platform, and you're putting it on the line, getting the ring. You don't have to. So the fact that people do it, I'll always shake their hands. They'll have my respect.
I that genuinely, I look for that in a fight. Whether the build-up's been controversial or aggressive, I'll always watch. As soon as it's finished, God, I'm trying to work out what sort of person they are. Yeah.
There's always 99 times out of 100, there's always that respect. They'll always touch gloves. They'll always hug it out, and a lot of it. The only time it won't is if they probably know they're gonna have a rematch. They'll be a bit standard. They're not being too nice because you probably have to do this again. Do you know what I mean? So, but other than that, I think the respect always is there. And I think that's a good thing about, like, say, even when I watch the kids in the amateurs and that, they knock themselves to each other and finish, touch gloves, hug. That's it. Do you know what I mean? And it's probably the way the world needs a little bit more of that at the minute. I think.
Mate. Yeah. Have you ever been tempted, or have you ever been asked to turn a build-up into something that it wasn't?
No, I haven't, to be honest with you. And I think that's where we were talking about before about the switch and stuff. I'm probably quite lucky in terms of I've never had to dislike my opponent to go in there and take them out. I've always kind of just switched on, and it's always been a hobby that turned into a job for me. It's never been personal. I've never been one to overly trash talk in the build-up, and like I said, I've never had to dislike my opponent to go in there and do a job. But as a fan, you do like the ones really dislike each other, and there's a bit of back and forth beforehand. But
only if you can really feel it, though.
Yeah, but a lot of the ones you can tell that are fake, and you think that's just to sell a fight kind of thing. Whereas the genuine ones are entertainment to watch. But no, I've never kind of had a fight like that. I've never had to, and I think if I was to now, it'd be a bit out of character. So everyone know it's probably fake kind of thing. Early on in my career, not to build a fight up, but I got told that I could promote myself a little bit more on social media and get my name out there. But again, it was never me, and I was always, maybe I'm probably too confident, but I was always confident that if I was good enough, I'd get there regardless. As long as I keep winning and I'm excited in the ring, which I believe I am, then I get the fights I need, and as long as I keep winning, I become a world champion. So I get a lot of fighters want to build the profile, especially this day and age with social media and stuff, and it does help, but the main thing is being able to fight, and I was always confident I could fight, so I didn't need the social media presence and to build my own profile and stuff. I always feel, as cheesy as it sounds, me boxing done the talking, and I can hand on heart say I've reached the top, and it was because of my boxing ability, nothing else.
Are you a world-class teammate? I see your brothers and you see the way you talk about them. What's your role in their boxing journeys? I've
always just think I'm quiet, but when I do speak, I like to think I speak sense, and if something does come out of my mouth, there's a reason behind it. And even now, like towards the end of my career, like I've got not really got any intentions of being a coach, but my two brothers are coaches, and I love helping them with their fighters and giving advice in terms of, like, I'm technically, it's probably my strength in terms of technically very correct. So if I can help someone throw a certain shot this way, I'll gladly do it, and I do get enjoyment out of it, to be fair. But I just think being a coach is a full-time job, and I've given enough time.
We couldn't be any more alike if we tried.
Yeah, I've given enough time and sacrifice to my own career. I don't know if I could carry on doing it for someone else's career, but
you'd get a kick out.
I do enjoy helping people, so I help my brothers in the gym, and like the amateur kids and stuff. I do love giving advice, and if I can, no, it's a bit of a waste if I don't, but I say I've got no intention of being a coach.
I hear you, mate.
Yeah.
I totally hear you. I asked you about getting beat by losing by points or getting knocked out. You obviously had a lot more experience in this. What do you get more of a buzz, beating someone up for 12 rounds or ending them?
Ending them, 100%. Like, I remember I was talking about this a while ago, when I was in like my fights, and then you're in the corner and he'd like walk around with the card saying, oh, it's round 9, and I used to think, I've only got 4 rounds left to get rid of them. I used to hate going to points no matter what. Whereas I know as you get old sometimes, like not the plan is to go to points, but the plan is just box, win on points kind of thing, especially if you're fighting someone who's never been knocked out and stuff. Whereas I used to just see the rounds go away and think, I've only got 3 left to get rid of them. And I've always, even like early on in my career when I won on points or won every round, I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't get the knockout. I think that's what get people talking about. Yeah, that's what you go home and don't say, oh, did you see his fight? He won on points. No, did you see his knockout? Like, and that's what like gets played on social media and stuff. So I've always tried to knock people out, but I think as years go on, you kind of, one, at the top level, it's harder to do, and 2, you can't go out and look for it, because then you tense up, you load up, and everyone just goes up to win. You've got to go out and relax, try and win the rounds, but be confident that if you do land a good shot, then you can get rid of them, whereas you can't go out with the goal to try and knock someone out, because it backfires.
Do you know what I loved? We were talking in there when we were going through it. How many times have you knocked someone out and then had to sit down and go, what was the shot? Yeah,
there's a few times you get back to changing room when you're like...
What's that mode?
I think that's just adrenaline. Everything, like, as much as you try and stay as calm as possible, it all happens really fast when you're in there, to the point where it's all a big blur. You're on autopilot, to be honest with you, for 90% of a fight, in terms of you're just reacting, and that's where I say it's important to drill stuff in the gym, because you won't do anything on autopilot that you haven't done in the gym, so to speak. So you've got to create good habits that you'll do without meaning it. And then there's been many times I've sat in the changing rooms and then I say, what was the shot? That was the knockdown. And then my brothers will like get me the replay on the thing and say there, and I say, oh yeah, it was a good shot. Whereas very rarely you'll be able to remember what type of shot it was you landed. And I think it is just that adrenaline, commotion. It is a bit all over the place. You remember certain parts of a fight, but not a lot. It's just a big blur.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people, right, will associate that with being punched in the head, or that's the reason you can't remember. It's not.
Yeah, no, nothing to do with that. It's more just.
Well, I know it's not, because I'm not getting punched in the head, and I can make a save.
No, it baffles me though. I know when you watch, like, it's a completely different like type of sport, but like when you watch the darts, and then they interview them after it, and they say, I missed that like double 12 to go 4-3. I'm thinking, how can you remember that? Do you know what I mean? Whereas in boxing, I can't remember a thing. And even like, I remember a few of my mates were laughing at my last fight. I was after round 10. I asked my coach, what round is it? And they were laughing their head off, thinking like, I'm thinking, you'd be surprised. Like, even using pads, the rounds just all go into one. You're like, how didn't you know what round it was? Like, I didn't, like, it all just happens a big blur. It goes quite fast and you lose track of it. And say, in terms of remembering like shots, what you land and stuff, it's hard.
Yeah, but darts would be, it's a sport, and just like snooker and golf, you're going to remember everything, because the ball's not moving, the dart ball's not moving.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, so some of my best saves I've made, I've no idea, like
reaction,
just the calculation, the feet movement, and you kind of lie on the floor, and I just know, like you probably know when you bang someone, I've done something fucking awesome. Yeah. I'm not quite sure what I did.
Yeah, it's autopilot, so you don't get a time to think when you're in there. Everything happens really fast. Someone's trying to take your head off as you're doing it.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is just reactions. And like I said, I keep going, that's the importance of doing it in the gym. You're not going to do something in the ring that you haven't done in the gym, so to speak. So when you say, like, go to the gym, just hit the bag for the sake of getting fit, that doesn't really help you further down the line. You've got to drill, do stuff to the point where it just becomes natural, and that's your reaction. When you get half a second to react, you'll do what you've done in the gym, you'll do it correct.
I was loving that the best time to hit someone is when they're about to hit you. Like, that is...
Yeah, it takes balls to do, but that is the best time, because a lot of people, when you do throw, like, the other handle drop and stuff, and the best time to when you leave yourself open is when you're throwing yourself. So the best time to catch someone is to time it and throw at the same time, but it's a bit of a gamble because you've got to make sure your other hand's safe, that if you do both land at the same time, you block theirs and theirs. It's probably my favourite time to throw, but it comes with experience, time and reading a fight, anticipating, you know, just like having a good reactions. I'm quite slow, laid back, so my reactions aren't good, but
so if you
my anticipation and my timing is good.
If you put you on that reactive wall,
I probably wouldn't be,
sluggish.
But me catch left hook's really fast, but it's not so much a reaction, it's more I anticipate this is going to come, and if it does, I'll react to me. So it's timing, and it's, from someone who doesn't understand it, it probably sounds the same thing, but it's not. Timing beats speed for me.
So the knockout's what you love.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a moment where you've knocked, obviously you've over the moon, you're delighted you've knocked someone out, and then you thought, shit, have I earned?
One, it was not too long ago, a few years ago, it was at Tottenham's ground, to be fair, and the Josh Ricardo knocked a lad out in the second round, and he went into like a bit of a fit while he was on the floor kind of thing, and then knocked out, so to speak. That was worrying. That was really worrying, to be fair. He was in the ring for a while. And
where'd you hit him?
Like a headshot, like a right hand, like just up here somewhere, I think. But I put him down and, like I say, shook for a bit and then knocked out. That was worrying, because let's say in boxing, the shot I threw was intended to do that, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but
of course.
You don't want to do any lasting damage, and it's the worst fear probably for most fighters, if I'm being totally honest with you. And it does happen, unfortunately, every now and again you will get one with a bad one, or like there's lasting damage and stuff, and you never want it to happen. You certainly never want it to be you on either end of it, to be fair. So yeah, that was worrying. He was fine, but he's back fighting. He's had fights after it, thankfully, and even like after his team coming in the changing room to me saying, look, he's up, he's responsive and stuff, which was helpful. But yeah, that's the only one time I've had some good knockouts over the years, but a lot of the time you knock them out, the ref will stop it and they'll get up, and heavens fans. That was one where he didn't get up and they had to get oxygen in and stuff like that. So yeah, it's, I suppose, the sport you sign up for, but you still never want to see it. It can happen, but it's not. That's the downside of the sport. I
got nothing against with how anyone wants to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, if they want to be over the top on socials, if they want to create drama. But what's most important, and what is it you see? I think Ben Whittaker's a great example in terms of someone who's blatantly got a lot of talent, but it's going down the route of really, really hyping and building himself. What's your thought process on that?
No, I think Conor McGregor's done it great, didn't he, to be fair, in terms of he built his profile to the point where I probably knew he was before I'd seen him fight. So then you think, watch him, he talks a good game, and then when he fights and backs it up, you think, fair play, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So he was really good at it. I think a lot of fighters try and do it his way and can't, if that makes sense. Same with fighters, a lot of fighters try and do it the Floyd Mayweather way. And he's a one-off, the same with McGregor, but it's not me, it's far from me. Like I said, I got told I need to be a bit more busy on social media, and it just isn't me, it's not what I've done, but I'm not against it. I can see the reasons why. Like Ben Whittaker, he's got ability, by the way, he's a good fighter, but his profile's massive, and it's because of the social media side of it and because of his showboating. And I don't know, for me, one, it's not the type of person I am, but two, I don't think I'd like the pressure of having to back it up. I think if you talk that talk, you've got to go and back it up, and as much as I'm confident I'll win anyway, I'd like to think if I do lose, it'll be unlucky. Whereas I think if Ben Whittaker lose, there'll be a lot of people quick to jump on it and put the knife in kind of thing. So it probably adds a little bit of pressure, but maybe he's a fighter who likes that type of pressure, and it brings out a better performance in him. So yeah, I'm not against it. I think it's good, especially this day and age where social media is massive. It was just never my personality on me, and I think if I was to have done that, it'd be massively out of character, so people would have probably seen through it. But this day and age, I think it's big, and especially in sport, I think fighters are getting opportunities that they probably wouldn't have got if they didn't have the profile they'd have. And we were laughing saying the other day, if you're a fighter wanting to turn professional now, normally it'd be, what fights have you had, what have you won as an amateur? I think one of the questions now would be, what's your following like on social media, which so it plays a big part in the sport now. So yeah, I'm not against it, it's just not something I've ever done.
Who would sell a fight best in the Smith family?
Liam probably, Liam, I think he's the aggressive one. He's the most probably competitive out of all of us in terms of, if you say, like he's banging into his paddle now. If you say, I like paddle, he'd say, do you? Yeah, I'll have you in 20 quid, don't you? And he'll just bet you regardless. Like, he just always wants it out to you at whatever it is, and he'll bet you that he's better than you at anything. So yeah, I think he's had a few high profile fights which he's sold well himself, to be fair. So yeah, I think Liam he'd be the best to sell a fight.
Right, so we've obviously got the 4 Smith brothers.
Yeah.
Everyone knows about that.
Yeah.
You've got your 2 sisters, and you've all got a common goal that you're fighting for with one of your sisters.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that in the family dynamic.
Yeah, obviously the 4 boys, 2 girls, Chloe, and then the youngest, Holly. She's non-verbal autistic, and she was diagnosed when she was 2, sort of 22 years ago, 23 years ago, and all of us had no idea what autism was. It was a mum sat us down and said, yeah, Holly's autistic, and we're like, what does that mean? I had no idea. Well, now it's a little bit more known and stuff, but back then I had no idea. So we've always kind of used what platform we have got to just raise awareness of it. And if someone used to say, what does autism mean? And you explain, and if they go home and Google it and be a little bit more clued up on it, then we've done our job. We always try and raise money for certain like local charities and stuff, and just help families. Say we've seen it firsthand, raising a child with autism. It's not easy, it's tiring, it's a 24-hour. Especially Holly, she's non-verbal as well, so she can't tell you if anything's bothering and stuff. So it's just stuff like that, so that just help them raise awareness and a little bit of understanding. Like I remember when we were younger and like we'd be out at restaurants and Holly, like if she seen you with a drink, she'd probably just go over and take it off your table, and then people just think, oh, it's a naughty kid. And whereas I think now, especially now if I see someone with autism on the next table, I probably know, I can probably tell, so to speak, so you kind of understand a little bit more. So yeah, we've always just kind of done that. It's been a big inspiration for us, and still to this day, like in the last fight I have autism because they're short, and I still get, now rather than getting people ask me what it means, now I get loads of messages, thank you very much for doing that, I've got a son with autism, or I've got a daughter with autism, and I really like what you're doing and stuff. So yeah, it's just trying to do every little help that we can.
Yeah, I think how the world's changed is, you know, it's crazy how much it's changed, and how it can get people angry or can get people uncomfortable when all you're trying to spread is awareness. Like awareness is key for anything, man.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so important, and you must feel so proud that like you protecting your sister and just raising awareness has given so many, probably just as many people as you made happy when you've knocked someone out.
Yeah, like I get a feel like I get like tweets and that, like I was watching a boxing, like didn't care who win, seen the autism on the shorts, I'm a fan from now on, do you know what I mean? You get loads of stuff like that, and I say autism, unfortunately, I believe it's a lot more popular now than what it was back then in terms of like the numbers, 1 in however many, which is sad, but yeah, it's just, not just autism, like if we can do anything to help. Yeah. And I think if you've got a platform, you might as well use it however way you can, and I think it'd be a waste if you to have a platform and not use it to help raise awareness or do anything like that to help other people. So yeah, we've always just tried to do that as a family, as the 4 of us, and like I say, regardless of that, I'm always, you know, I love her to bits, so proud of her as my little sister. She's good fun, to be around, to be fair. So yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Does she get the boxing?
No, she doesn't. No, to be honest with you, not my little sister. Or does little sister Chloe does a little bit, but in terms of like the women in my family, my wife has never seen me fight. She doesn't watch. My mum's never seen me fight. Doesn't watch. Yeah, it's just they just don't. My mum like used to go to the bingo, so she would say, "Oh, well, you should be in the ring at 9 o'clock." She'd go to the bingo and turn her phone off. Then at 10 o'clock, switch it back on, and someone will phone her and tell her the result. And my wife's the same. She's never seen me fight. She always likes to be there and around this, so that after it, if anything goes wrong, she can come and see me. But she'd never actually see me throw a punch. She just never. And she keeps saying, calling me a liar. She keeps saying, I'll be retired at the end of this year. And I've been saying it for like 4 years, and she's saying, you're a liar.
You're a liar.
So, but yeah, the women have never been big into the boxing, but I think if I was to get a girlfriend and she used to love it and sit ringside shouting for me, I'd have probably found it a bit weird. So I think the fact that she's like me mum, I think I found that normal.
So even though you're a liar and you're not going to retire anytime soon, what does the Callum Smith legacy look like?
Legacy, hopefully.
What are you leaving in this?
Hopefully a 2-weight world champion. I think, as much as I've never competed with anyone else, I always want to just chase. I've set my own goals and always just moved the bar. Every time I've achieved them, I've moved it up, and I've been lucky. I've won English, British, European world titles, Ring magazine titles, and I think Liverpool have had 6 world champions. You've never had a 2-time world champion or a 2-8 world champion, so that'd be nice to be the first from the city to be a 2-8 world champion. But yeah, it's just I've always just set goals. I've always pushed the bar and put as high as I can. Like when I turned professional, like I said, we hadn't had a world champion until my brother won it a few years later, but it was like 20 years, but I wanted to be a world champion, and people probably thought I set the bar too high, but I achieved it, and the minute I won it, I moved it again. But yeah, I just want a 2-8 world champion and a 1 belt at every level. So right the way through English, British, European, a 2-8 world champion, and just, I don't know, just let people who's a good fighter. Like people say I'm not this big character on social media, I'm not going to be liked for in terms of them reasons, but I think if you do know who I am and you do like me, it's because of my boxing ability and that alone, and that's the way I like it. That's fine with me. Not, yeah, he was okay boxer, but he was good fun on social media. Like I like living a quiet life, but I can fight as long as people say whether they like me or didn't like me. He can fight though. That's all I really want to be remembered by.
What about Callum Smith the person? What's that legacy?
I don't know, I think I'm a nice lad, to be fair. I'm quiet, but I live a nice quiet life. I've always from a good close-knit family. I'm trying to build that myself with my own family now. I've got 3 kids and an amazing wife at home, and I leave the gym, I go home, and I like spending time with them. I don't live a busy flash lifestyle. Like I say, I've done well from boxing, but I wouldn't say I'm overly flash. I like being at home, I like taking my family on holiday. I like just enjoying a life, so to speak. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm overly, I don't know, I think if someone doesn't like me, I like think what, it's probably they don't like one of your brothers or something.
That's on them.
Yeah, it's on them, they don't like one of your brothers or something. But yeah, I'd say I'm quite quiet, I don't.
So if someone don't like you, it's Liam's
It's got to be for one of them, yeah. It's Liam or Paul. Paul's probably rubbed me up the wrong way on social media or something. But yeah, I'm quite quiet, I don't do anything controversial. Probably borderline boring, but it's just the way I've always liked my life, so to speak.
What you're a solid guy.
Yeah, in terms of boxing, as long as people think, you know what, he can fight, he's a good fighter.
Right, so mind over everything, what does that mean to you is how we start every podcast. I want to finish with a question from someone close to you. John, your coach, who I've just worked with there.
Yeah.
Padman, Badman, the man. And he wants to know, how are you going to be you when you're not a boxer?
To be honest with you, yeah, I hope I'm right, but it could come back and bite me. But I don't think I'll be one of the fighters who struggle. I think a lot of people who struggle when they're retired struggle losing limelight and being like the man, so to speak. Whereas I've never craved limelight. I've always fight, win. I've always wanted recognition, if that makes sense, rather than limelight. I don't overly enjoy being in the spotlight, and I say once I finish fighting, you probably don't hear from me until my next fight's announced. So I don't think I'll struggle in that sense. Maybe I'll struggle not having a purpose, a routine, as in get up, go to the gym, do this, and having a fight to work towards. But hopefully I can find something that kind of fills that gap. But yeah, golf, hopefully get my handicap down a bit. But yeah, it turns out I think a lot of people who do struggle with retirement is either A, they're not satisfied with what they achieved, which we touched on earlier. I like to think I will be if I can become a 2-8 world champion. And B, limelight is never something I've overly craved or enjoyed anyway. I've always enjoyed being quiet, but getting recognition for being a boxer, not for everything else, so to speak. So hopefully I'll be okay. Come and see me in a couple of years and we'll see.
But of all the guests so far, you've actually been the most difficult to ask a question, because even just speaking with John then, you are so level and so clear and calm, and I think that's the biggest compliment that can be paid to you.
Thank
so,
you.
Mate, you'll smash it, and then whatever comes after, you're going to be a happy man.
Thank you. That's a
Thanks for
pleasure.
your time,
Thank you very
man.
much.
That was
Thank
quality.
you. Enjoyed that.